Good afternoon to all of you. Am I audible?
Good afternoon, sir. Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Sir, IT management professor mentioned us that their class is rescheduled to the timings of this current class. So should I inform her that we have the OOPS class right now?
Pardon, I don't get it. Class, which class is
Yeah.
rescheduled?
IT management on Wednesday 12 to 1.
IT Wednesday 12 to 1.
Yes, IT management.
So IT management 12 to 1. Basically, you belongs to the computer science na, branch.
Yes, sir.
Is
Like
there,
both classes are clashing on the same time.
both classes are just inform to that particular faculty member. Okay, basically, we have taken the I think this is the second or third class.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
which is scheduled from 12 to 1. Okay.
Oh, okay, sir. I'll inform.
Okay,
Thank
fine.
you.
Thank you. Okay, I hope whiteboard is visible. So in the previous time we have seen what is class and what is object is. So now today we will see how many ways are there to initialize object. Okay, how many ways are there to initialize object? So basically there are three ways to initialize the object. Here initialization of object. Initialization of object. So since object is an instance of class, so there are three ways to initialize object. The first way is by using the reference variable. By reference variable. This is the first way. Okay. The second way is by method. By method of a class. Method of class. Okay. Initialization of object means initialization of variables or data fields. Okay, initialization of objects means initialization of variables or data fields, because each object is having its own data fields, own copy of data field. So how can we initialize the data fields of objects? So the first way is by using a reference variable, by the method of class, and the third one is by constructor. By constructor. Okay. So come to the first method, by reference. What is reference variable? Reference variable, I have already given an example, like suppose there is a class student. So if I would like to create the object of a student class, and if I write student s equal to new student, so here in this case s is a reference variable which is stored in the stack, which refer to the memory location where the object is created in heap. Okay. So how can we initialize the variables or data fields of object with the help of reference variable? So just I go to the just one thing. Okay. Just I write a program. Suppose the program is a class here. Suppose test one. Suppose this is the first. This is the class. Okay. Class name test one. Now, so here basically test one. Here I save the program with test1.java. So basically, if I save the program with test1.java, it means this is my main class. Okay, this is my main class, and it is my main class. So we need to declare a main method here: public static void main. So this is the main class. String args. Okay, sorry. Now here you can see that this is the main method. So it is called as the main class. Test1 is the main class. And here the public is the keyword, static is the keyword, void is the return type, main is the method name, and string argument is the argument, means string argument array. Basically main method can takes the array of strings as an argument. Okay, this is basically used for string argument array is used for command line argument. Okay, now what is the significance of public? Why we have to write here the public keyword? Okay, so here if I write public keyword, it means now this particular main method is accessible outside of the class also. Okay, from anywhere we can access the main method. But I earlier told you that in order to access any functionality or any method, we need to create the object of that particular class. It means if this is the main method which belongs to this test1 class, it means in order to access method main, a object should be required as per the definition. Means in order to access the functionality of a class, we need to declare the object of that particular class. But here actually the program is executed from here itself, from the main method, and we need to call the main method without creating the object. Okay, so for that particular purpose, we need to put here the static keyword. If I write a static keyword here, now there is no requirement of the creation of object of test1 class. Main method can be called directly with the help of class name. So basically class name is given when we run the program. If I run the program with the help of Java test1, so basically the class name is given. So here the main method is invoked without the creation of object. The static, the significance of static keyword is this, right? Now, void is the return type. Basically, this particular method doesn't return any value, and string argument is the argument array. So now we need to create a class here, and then we will see how can we create the object of that particular class. So just write, let's suppose student class, okay, class student. So basically in this package, student class is already there, because in the previous time I have already created a student class. So just I name it as student1, 9, right? Class student1. So student1 is a class. Now, so basically in a class, what are the components are there in the class? So basically class can have instance variable, means basically class can have data fields, class can have methods, class can have certain constructors. Okay, so basically there are three things, main three things are there in a class. One is data fields, means variables, another one is methods, and the third one is constructor. What is constructor we will see here. So first, data fields or properties. Okay, data fields, or you can say it as properties of class. Data fields or properties. So suppose the properties of a student is integer roll number, and string name. Suppose there are two parameters are there, string name. Now these are two parameters is there, and as far as the method is concerned, so basically we method नहीं लेते हैं. Suppose there are two fields are there, and now if I would like to create the object of this particular class, so basically class object is created in main method, because the execution begins from the main method. So initially executions begins from the main method, and in the main method, the first line, if you write like this, student1, suppose s1 equal to new student1. Okay. If you write like this, so it means s1 is a reference variable and the new is the keyword in order to generate runtime memory for the student object, and this is the constructor calling student1. This is the constructor. Basically constructor is just like a method, but the name of constructor is same as the class name. So here, after the creation of reference variable s1, now the first methods to initialize the object. When we talk about the initialization of object, it means initialization of data fields. So with the help of s1, we can initialize the roll number. With roll number, suppose roll number is 20, and with the help of h1, we can initialize the name. Okay, name. Suppose name is any name. Suppose here name is Amit. Okay. In this way, we will be able to initialize the roll number and name with the help of s1 reference variable. Okay. Now we can create another object also. Suppose there are two objects s1 and s2, so I just write here s2. So the s2 is the reference variable, and s2 dot roll number is equal to suppose 30, and s2 dot name is equal to suppose Ravi. Okay. In this way, we can initialize the object with the help of reference variable. Now, the another way is of initialization of reference. Here you can say that with the help of object name, with the help of object reference variable, you will be able to directly access the roll number as well as name. It means the roll number and name is visible to the object reference variable. Means with the help of object reference variable, you will be able to access the data part, which is very sensitive part. Okay, means any object can change, means directly access the roll number and name part. So here, in order to provide security, or you can say that in order to provide the data hiding features in Java programming language, it is recommended to make it as private. It is recommended to make it as a private. And when you write this two data fields as private fields, so here the error is generated because roll number and name is now not accessible by the s1 and s2, because these two are private members of student1 class, and the private member cannot be accessed directly. Yeah. Okay, public member can be accessed outside of the class, but private member cannot be accessed. So in order to access or initialize roll number and name, if both are private, the another approach of initialization of object is to initialize roll number and name with the help of public method. With the help of public method means here if I write like this, void insert, void set data is the method suppose, and void set data, and how many datas we need to initialize? There are two variables. First variable is integer type, the second variable is string type. The first variable is integer and the second variable is string. So here there are two parameters are required. So suppose the first parameter is integer r, comma, the second parameter is string name. So there are two parameters, string name, suppose n. Okay. So this is the method. Set data is called, and r and n is passed as an argument. So roll number is initialized by the r, and name is initialized by n. Okay. In this way, with the help of this public void set data, we will be able to access roll number as well as name. Now, after the creation of method set data, now how can we initialize roll number and name of object which is referred by S1 and S2? So I just comment this two line because we cannot access roll number and name directly because both are private variables. So after the creation of object that is referred by S1, if I write S1 dot, basically with the help of S1, we will be able to access the set data method. So with the help of S1, we will able to access set data method, and we can pass 20 and Amit as an argument. 20 and Amit as an argument here. Similarly, for the H2, here, set data 30 and Ravi is passed. Here you can see that with the help of public method, we can also initialize the data fields. So basically, this approach is preferable as compared to the previous approach, because in this case, data hiding features of Java is achieved because both the data are private and private data is not accessible here. With the help of public method, we will be able to access roll number as well as name. Fine. Suppose there is another method, there is another parameter like private integer age. Suppose age is the sensitive data. Suppose for private integer salary. Okay. And now here the set data. This is the public set data, and we can initialize the integer, another parameter, suppose s, and salary is initialized by s. Okay, and here now we need to pass another parameter like 2000, and here 3000. Okay, now suppose, so this particular method is for initializing the data. Now another method, suppose if I would like to access, if I would like to print all these data, roll number, name and salary, because here you can see that S1 is initialized, S2 is initialized, but how can we show all this data? So here, in order to access or display this data, in order to access this data, we need to declare another method like this: public void get data. Suppose public void get data, and in this here we need to display the data. Display the roll number, name and salary. So here, how can I display the data? If I write system is a class, then here you can see that there are three, you can say that three variables: error, in and out. Okay, Achha, when I put cursor here, so here you can see that actually what is in here, in is a variable of type input string. Okay, in is a variable of type input string. Okay, in is a variable of type input string. It means now this variable can refer to an object of input string type. Okay, so if I write dot in, it means now this in is a reference variable which can refer to an object of input stream type. And input stream class. An input stream class is having a method, system.in, not system.in, system.out. We need to print the output in the screen. So basically out, just go to the output. So out here you can see that when I write out, because in basically is for taking the data from the keyboard, and system.out means printing the data to the monitor, your output screen, basically, not monitor, not your output screen. So when I write out, system.out, the out is basically the variable of print stream class. Okay, and print stream class is having a method that is println or print. println method. Println method is the part of print stream class. So out is the object reference variable of print stream class. Okay, and println is the method of print class. So here, if I write like this, system.out.println, and now you can print roll number plus roll. We can print like roll number, name, and salary. In a single line you can print, or in a multiple line you can print roll number, then name, and here in place of name just write name. And suppose here the salary is not printed. It means with the help of get data you will be able to display only roll number as well as name, but salary is hidden with the help of get data. Okay, so in this way basically data hiding is achieved. Salary is initialized, but with the help of get data method you will be able to only access the roll number and name, not salary. In order to access the salary, basically you need to put the print, you need to basically access the salary within this public method. Otherwise you can basically create another method in order to print separate, in order to print the salary. But here suppose this get data method is able to access the roll number as well as name. So here in this case, if you call the get data method, so if I write s1 dot get data, so if I means run this particular program, so here the roll number 20 and Amit, because S1 is the object, and this object is initialized with the 20 as an age and Amit as a name. Okay, so 20 and Amit is printed in the screen. Here in this way you can see that how objects are initialized with the help of method as well as reference variable, and you can understand that how basically with the help of public method we can access the private data field in order to achieve data hiding features of Java. Now the third approach, which is very standard approach of the initialization of object, that is generally used. Okay, so basically you have to use this, mostly basically most programmer basically prefer this approach, that is constructor calling. So with the help of constructor you can initialize the object. So before going into the third method, I just describe some theory part and then come back to the program, same program. Okay, I just stop sharing this.
Sir, here if we use only void set data instead of public void set data, will there be any problem, or it will default take the public one?
It basically, if you do not declare here means public keyword, so basically by default there is a default keyword is there. Okay, there is a default keyword is there. Okay, if you do not put it here public, so basically you need to put the public keyword, so that basically outside of the package also, okay, in the means in a later class we will discuss what is package, and because when we will discuss the inheritance part, so then we will discuss what is the significance of protected and default keyword. There basically in that particular class, inheritance class, you will be able to understand the difference between protected and a default keyword. Okay, till now we will only focus on private and public keyword. So basically we need to put public keyword, otherwise by default a default keyword is set here. Okay,
Okay sir, yes.
Okay, fine. So just go to the whiteboard again. So third way of object creation is a constructor. Fine. Okay, so what is constructor is, so basically constructor is a block of codes like method. Constructor is a block of codes like method, similar to method, block of codes which is similar like method. Okay, and it is called, this block of code is called, constructor is called when an instance of class is created, or when object is created, when an object is created. So if you would like to initialize the object, you need to call the constructor when an object is created. Means in order to create the object, you need to call the constructor. Okay. So, but in the previous example, you have seen that I have written student as equal to new student, but I am not. I have not declared the student constructor explicitly. I have not created the student constructor. Okay. So basically, how the object is created if I have not created the constructor of student explicitly. Okay. So basically, if I means not if you do not if you know not going to create any constructor in a class, so basically Java Virtual Machine works on behalf of you and create a constructor for you. That constructor is called as a default constructor. A default constructor is created by Java Virtual Machine in order to initialize the object. Okay, that is default constructor means a constructor without parameter. A constructor without parameter. Constructor without parameter. So basically here when you write new student Java, sorry, new student, here you can see that this is a constructor without any parameter. So this is a default constructor is called. Okay, a default constructor is called here, which is not declared by the programmer. Or the other choice is you can create your explicit constructor. Okay, you can declare your explicit constructor. So basically how can we create the constructor? So basically constructor is just like a block of course like method, and the name of constructor is same as the class name. Okay, name of constructor is same as the class name. So there are certain rules are there for constructor. The first rule is constructor name must be same as the class name. ये एकदम thumb rule है. Constructor name must be same as its class name. Another, because constructor is only used to create the object or initialize the object, so constructor must have no explicit return type. Constructor must have no explicit return type. Why we put here explicit keyword return type? Means if you would like to create the constructor, so you can create the constructor like this: student and block of code, certain block of code. But you need not to put here any return type, even void. You need not to put here any return type because constructor doesn't return any value explicitly, but implicitly actually it returns an object reference. It returns an object reference which is stored in the object reference variable. एक object तो create करता ही है. Basically when the constructor is called, actually an object is returned. Okay, but implicitly an object is returned. Explicit return is means there must not be any explicit return type. Okay, because a method or a constructor cannot return more than one value. So implicitly basically it returns an object, so there is no requirement of any explicit return type. So this is the another rule. And the third rule is that Java constructor cannot be static. Okay, it cannot be final. What is the final keyword we will discuss later in inheritance chapter, because there is a significance of final keyword in inheritance chapter. Okay, final and abstract and synchronized keyword. These are the important keywords, synchronized keyword. So constructor cannot be abstract, final, static and synchronized. Okay, so we will first discuss the static keyword, and as per the requirement in future we will discuss all these keywords, but you need not to put final, abstract, synchronized and static in constructor. Okay, Now come to the types of constructor. Types of constructor. So basically, generally there are two types of constructors. One is no argument constructor, no argument constructor. Another one is parameterized constructor. Parameterized constructor is the constructor which is having certain parameter. No argument constructor is just like the default constructor which is having no parameter. Default constructor. So basically, default constructor is provided by the Java virtual machine if and only if there is no constructor is defined or declared by the programmer. Okay, if there is no constructor is defined or declared by the programmer, so basically a default constructor is provided by the Java virtual machine. Okay, so just I again go to the program and show you how we can create our own constructor in order to initialize the object. So basically, constructor are used to create and initialize the object. Create and initialize object. Okay. Again, go to the IDE, NetBeans IDE. Okay. Now the same program, student one. Here there are three variables: integer, roll number, string name, and salary. Okay. And in here, basically set data and get data is used to means set the values and print the values. Now, suppose I just इसको comment कर देते हैं. Comment के लिए कैसे होता था? If I just comment this line, okay, set data and get data is commented. Now, I need to initialize this roll number, name, and salary with the help of constructor. So I just declare a constructor in order to initialize roll number, name, and salary. So how can I declare the constructor? So basically, constructor name is same as the class name, student1. Okay. Student1. Then how many parameters are needed to initialize? So basically, there are three parameters are there to initialize. The first parameter is integer type, integer suppose R. The another parameter is name, so string name. And suppose the third parameter is again integer salary, the integer type. So this is a constructor, parameterized constructor. Okay. Here, sorry, student1. Okay. So here you can see that there is no requirement of any return type here, and student1 is the constructor name, and here you can see that this is the parameterized constructor. Otherwise, if there is no parameterized constructor is there, so basically we will be able to initialize the object with the help of this particular thing. Okay, I just remove set data line. I just remove set data line and get data line, because set data and get data are commented. Okay. Here you can see that when I declare this student1 constructor, I just comment this again. If I comment this student constructor, what will happen if I comment this? Okay, so here after commenting the parameterized constructor, you can observe that the student s1 equal to new student means now a default constructor is provided by the Java virtual machine. Okay, because there is no constructor is there. But if there is any constructor which is provided by the program, and in that particular case, Java virtual machine doesn't provide any constructor, default constructor there. If I just observe this, there is no error is there, student S1 is okay, student S2 is equal to new student, okay. But when I remove this comment, an error is generated. Okay, this error is generated. Why error is generated? Because a parameterized constructor is there. It means no default constructor is provided. So what is required here? अब क्या करना होगा इसमें? What we can do here in this particular case? How can we initialize this? How can we call this line? How can we write this line? Student S1 equal to new student 1. Basically, here you can see that this is the parameterized constructor which is having 3 parameters, R, N, and S. Okay. And what is R here? So R is basically assigned to roll number, and then name is assigned by N, and salary is assigned by S. Okay. Now, so we need to pass here the roll number like 20, name Amit, and salary suppose 2000. Okay. Salary 2000. What is the problem in this case? Okay, I just again here for S2, if I write 30 and suppose Ravi and comma 3000. Okay. Is there any problem here? I think
Inverted
okay,
comma.
fine. Inverted comma.
Inverted
Fine.
comma
Thank
after
you.
2000.
Okay, thank you. So here you can see that 20 is assigned to R and Amit is assigned to string and 2000 is assigned to S. Now in this way, a parameterized constructor is called and S1 and S2 objects are initialized. That is referred by S1 and S2. Okay, so hope it is clear now how we can use the constructor, parameterized constructor in order to initialize it. Fine. And you can also create your own no argument constructor. Suppose if you are required to create a student object without passing any parameter in this case. So suppose if I write like this, student S3 and is equal to new student 1, sorry, student 1 like this, okay, S3. So basically an error is generated. So what is required here? We can write a no argument constructor in order to support this. If I write student 1 equal to this, student 1 is this, then basically an object is created. Okay, but here when you write this, basically you can give any statement here. You can give any statement in this particular constructor. Or you can basically leave it blank also, because when S3 is created, so with the help of certain method, because when S3 is created, so with the help of S3 you will not be able to initialize any data fields. Why you will be not be able to initialize any data field? Because the data fields are private. So method is required, like set data and get data method is required. Okay, so in some books, basically this setting data and getting data as method is called as basically accessor method and mutator method. Accessor method means in order to access the data, accessor method, and in order to change the data or set the data, mutator method. Accessor and mutator method, okay, is there in the case of private data fields. So accessor method, this set data is called as mutator, and get data is called as accessor method. So this is how we can initialize the objects with the help of constructor. Any question here?
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, do we have to write this no argument constructor every time?
No, basically there is no need to write no argument constructor. Basically, if you have created a parameterized constructor, so with the help of parameterized constructor, you will be able to initialize all the field of this particular class. But suppose if there are certain methods like set data and get data is available also. Suppose set data and get data is available. In that particular case, you can write this particular block so that you will be able to create object like this S3, which is referred by S3, and then with the help of S3, you will be able to set data and get data. Set data and get data. In that particular case, basically, you may write this. Otherwise, with the help of parameterized constructor, you can initialize the object. Okay. And suppose there is no parameterized constructor is there, then there is no problem. If there is no constructor is there, Java Virtual Machine provides you a default constructor like this. In that case, there is no need to write this. If there is no constructor is defined in a class, then there is no need to write this because a Java Virtual Machine provides this. Okay, I'm clear?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. So this is how the object is created. The next thing is that is important for the class and object, that is static keyword. Okay, here in the previous turn also we have discussed the static keyword. Static keyword is very important. So static keyword means static is basically belongs to the class rather than object. Okay, static belongs to class rather than object. It means here basically three variables are there: roll number, name, and salary. It means roll number, name, and salary are the instance variable. Okay, are the instance variable. But suppose if I write suppose static string college name of a student, and college name is shared by all the object, and the college name is same for all the objects, so there is no need to create different copies for each object because the same value is copied for all the object. Yeah, same values is shared by all the object. So in order to basically solve the problem of memory, or you can say that static keyword is used for the memory management mainly. Static keyword is used for the memory management because when you create like this college name MNNIT, so if you create hundreds objects, if you create 100 objects, so 100 objects means 100 times roll number, 100 times name, 100 times salary, but a single time college name memory is allocated. Okay, single time memory is allocated, and all the objects basically share the same memory location. In this way, college name is MNNIT. So here, this static values is shared by all the object. Means if you would like to print the college name with the help of S1, S2, S3 or any variable, so basically you will be able to find out MNNIT. But actually here, suppose if you would like to access MNNIT, so if you declare any variable as static, so there is no need to create object in order to access this. Suppose if you would like to access what is the college name of student class, so there is no need to create object. There is no need to create object means you can access the MNIT with the help of class name. With the help of class name means if I write system.out.println, system.out.println, okay. Here if I write class name, what is class name? Student one dot, and here college name. If I write this, so basically if I print, so MNNIT is printed, college name. Okay. So static keyword is accessed by the class name because this static variable is called as the class variable, and the roll number, name, and salaries are instance variable because these all are the part of objects, but this is the part of class. Okay, the static keyword is the part of class. Now, so this is basically now the question is actually where you can write static keyword. So basically static keyword writes before the variables, and you can also write static keywords before the method also. Okay, you can write static keywords before the methods. Okay, so how can you write the static keywords before the method is suppose if I create a method, see, if I create a method like suppose if I would like to change the name of college of a student, suppose if I would like to change the name of college, in order to change the name of college, basically we need to write a static method here, because this college name is the part of class. So a method which also the part of class can access that particular variable. Means a college name is the variable. So how can I change this particular college name? Here with the help of certain methods. So suppose if I write a method like void change, okay, void change, and just write here college name is equal to, suppose in college triple IT Allahabad. Fine. Here. So if I write static, suppose keyword here, static void change, and now if I write static keywords before the method, so it means now this method is called by class itself, class name itself. Means in order to call the change method, there is no need to create the object. Okay, means you have seen that set data and get data is the methods. Okay, actually in order to call set data and get data, you need to create objects. So you can call this set data and get data method as instance method also, because with the help of object, set data and get data can be called. But the change, which is a static method, can be called directly by the student class. There is no need to create the object. And if you call the change method, so college name is changed for all the object is created. Okay. And suppose if I would like to change roll number, name and salary here. So if I write here roll number is equal to suppose 45, suppose, actually an error is generated because static method cannot access the non-static data field. The static method cannot access non-static data member. So the rule is static method cannot access non-static field. मतलब कोई भी static method non-static को access नहीं कर पाएगा, non-static data fields या data member, non-static data member. This is the rule.
सर
Yes.
सर एक्चुअली सर इसमें लेकिन कॉलेज नेम में तो स्टैटिक स्ट्रिंग लिखा हुआ, तो वो स्टैटिक नहीं है रहेगा सर?
College name is static. College name
तो
is
फिर क्यों नहीं
static.
एक्सेस कर?
नहीं, तो college name
बस सर रोल नंबर नहीं एक्सेस कर पाएगा,
हाँ,
रोल नंबर नहीं एक्सेस कर पाएगा,
रोल नंबर नहीं एक्सेस कर पा रहा, ठीक है, बिकॉज रोल नंबर इज नॉन स्टैटिक, क्योंकि रोल नंबर सबके पास अपना अपना खुद का है, बिकॉज रोल नंबर मींस सपोज देयर आर 3 ऑब्जेक्ट्स आर क्रिएटेड, तो ईच ऑब्जेक्ट हैज इट्स ओन कॉपी ऑफ रोल नंबर. ओके, so with the help of static method you cannot change the roll number because roll number is not a shared entity. Okay, it is not a shared entity, so you cannot change with the help of the static method, with the help of static method. So this is the rule. And another important rule is yes, is there a question?
Sir, can we access the static variables by a normal method?
Yes, you can access basically static variable with the help of normal variable, means normal method. Means here the change, if I write here like this, white change. Basically, there is no error is generated. You can access the static variable with the help of non-static method, but actually there is no significance, because here if you basically do not put static keyword here, so any object will be able to access the change method, okay, and can be able to change the college name. कोई भी ऑब्जेक्ट चेंज कर देगा, और जब चेंज कर देगा तो सभी में चेंज हो जाएगा. Okay, fine. So basically the good practice is, however, there is no error is generated, but the good practice is you need to put static keyword in order to access static method. Okay? This thing is. Acha, another rule related to the static keyword is suppose in a method like change method, if you would like to call another method, means if I declare another method like suppose if I declare another method void display, suppose if I declare another method like void display, what is the error is generated? Expected. Okay, void display. Now if I would like to print system dot out.println, and suppose if I would like to just print roll number, suppose, and this is not a non-static method. So if I would like to call display method from the change method, we cannot directly call it. Because this is not this display method is not the part of class. Okay, because this is not a static method. Means in order to access display method, you need to create the object. So you cannot access, you cannot call display method directly here. Okay, an error is generated. The non-static method cannot be referenced from a static context. But if you declare it as static, then there is no problem. There is no problem. But the problem, another problem, just see, if you put here a static keyword and roll number is a non-static variable, so again the problem. Fine, because roll number cannot be accessed by the static method. So basically this is all about the static keyword. And one more thing that is left in the case of a static context, the static cannot be used in the case of this and super key. But generally we will discuss this key, then we basically we will see that why static keyword is not used in the case of this reference variable. And super is basically used, super is a keyword which is used in the case of inheritance, parent class. Okay, and this is for current class. So this and super is another two important keywords. So we will discuss this keyword in the next turn, and super keyword will be discussed in the inheritance chapter. Fine. So basically this is all about the static keyword and constructor and class and object. Okay, so basic class and object is completed, and with static keyword. In the next turn we will see some significance of this keyword, and then after we will move towards the basic input output and then array. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if I want to change the static college name of a particular object only, then how can we do that?
basically you cannot change the static college name for a particular object, because this college name is shared by all the objects. Suppose if S1 change the college name, suppose S1 change the college name, if I just show you, if suppose S1 would like to change the college names from MNIT to IIIT Allahabad. So as soon as S1 change the college name from MNIT to IIIT Allahabad, so this is reflected to all the object. Because actually MNIT is changed to IIIT Allahabad in a common memory area, and that is shared by all the objects. कोई भी change करेगा, so that is reflected to all objects. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And sir, the term that we use public class test on. So what the public define here? What exactly it is?
Where public? Public is a keyword.
Class.
Basically, public.
What it defines? Yes, public class test one. When we use.
Public, when you write public class test one, means test one is the class. Okay, test one is a class. This is user defined, and class is a keyword. In order to write any class, fine. Class is a keyword. Class is a keyword, and if you write test one, so test one is a class. If you write suppose here student one, so this is a class. And what is the significance of public keyword? Public keywords means now this class is accessible from anywhere. This class is accessible from anywhere. Fine. Anywhere means outside of the package also. Outside of the package, or even outside of the package also, anyone can create the object of this particular class.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay, so now we finish here, and in the next turn we will discuss this keyword and then basic input output. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.